hope you can understand me a little bit better, that you can understand who and what I am and why I'm always encouraging people, why I'm always trying to inspire and motivate people. It's because I have felt the least motivated. I have felt so discouraged, and I had no one to encourage me. I had no one to motivate me, no one to inspire me. And I remember one day God said, what you need others to be for you, that's who you be for others. And I said, what? And he told me to start a YouTube channel. I will hold you in my heart until I can hold you in my hands in heaven, mommy. Good morning and welcome back to Grace.Filled. This is a different type of video, and it was kind of hard for me to make initially, but I knew that it would help others, and at that thought, I jumped to share. So this is Baby Loss Awareness Week. So I am sharing my stories in case it helps or blesses other women. I have shared almost everything about my life except this thing, and it has kept me grieving. The hardest part of my life has been having 2 miscarriages. I do feel just a drop nervous sharing with you. But again, if anyone can be encouraged by my video and know that you're not alone, then the anxiety, the vulnerability, the rawness of this video will be worth it. My mission here on YouTube is to encourage, to inspire, to motivate you in your faith, in your home, in your life, in your home school. If you know, I love bringing friends along in my videos so we can have a party, right? I love that. This time I'm bringing friends along for the support. So once you're done watching this video, if you will take a look at the description box, there is a playlist of other moms who unfortunately have experienced loss, and they are willing to share their stories with me and with you. I think about it often, and even though it's been years, grief is grief, right? And I think part of the reason we don't fully understand this is because we say loss. Like, I lost a baby. I lost my keys. I lost my phone. I lost my purse. I lost something. When you lose something, you actually have the ability to find it and for things to continue on. So we technically didn't lose a baby. Our babies died. They died. They're not coming back. So I think it's important the language that we use. We didn't lose a baby. Our babies died. 2 of my babies died. Honestly, it's so hard to understand why. I mean, I have suffered in silence for many years. I never shared. I rarely talked about it. There were just a few people who came to me to ask me for advice and to help them get through their loss. I don't even know necessarily how they found out, or maybe when they shared their loss, I shared mine. And I could see then how much it encouraged them to know that they are not alone, because rarely anybody talks about miscarriage, and when they did, it was typically negative. Like, that's why honestly I kept it inside so long. One lady even told me that she was happy that her baby died. Another one said, you'll get over it. I mean, I've heard so many negative comments, and honestly it made me feel so isolated and alone. To hear people say these negative things, it's really hard. Or to just get blank stares and no comment. So 1 in 100,000 women have an ectopic pregnancy. I'm that one, and I even lost the tube. 5% of women have 2 miscarriages. I'm that woman. I had 2 miscarriages. 1 out of 3 women will miscarry, and I'm hoping that you're not one of those 3. So let's talk about my personal story. I had 1 child, and I was pregnant with the second, and I was so excited, so excited, and so was my partner. And at my oldest son's appointment, the doctor said that we should go and have an x-ray of his legs because they were a little bit just a drop concern with the shape of them. And so I said, okay. And I think this appointment was scheduled for kind of a while. So I went. But when I went, he wouldn't be still. And I remember the tech asked me to come and just kind of get him, to be comfortable and to just calm down. And so I did. And although no one would validate it, I think that is when my baby died. I went and I held him, and then she said, okay, when I tell you, run. And so she said, no, go. And when she told me, I ran to get behind the safe line, but I wasn't fast enough, and it snapped. The x-ray snapped before I was at the line. And when I went back to the doctor, I had already went at 8 weeks. The baby was fine. I think when I went back the second time, the baby was standing on top of her head, and the doctor said that, they can kind of estimate the time of death, and I think the time of death was 9 weeks, and that was exactly the time that I was there getting the x-ray. So, what an experience. That means I've carried this baby deceased for 3 weeks. That reality was tough. But the reality that was coming was even tougher. It was like there were no open appointments for DNC for a month, 1 month, 30 days, 4 weeks. So you're telling me that I have to carry this deceased baby for 4 weeks? Oh, I was devastated. I was crushed. I was beyond. You fill in the blanks, because I'm supposed to be carrying life, but I'm carrying death, and I know that I'm carrying death, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing anyone can do about it, but I'm expected to carry on my life like it's nothing. I'm expected to still work and be mom and all these things, but I'm grieving. I'm devastated. I'm beyond crushed. What do you do at a time like this? So every day I woke up and I went to bed with death inside of me. I tried to talk to my church about it, and honestly, they made it feel worse. They made it worse. I felt so alone. I felt so isolated, and to be honest, I wanted to die. Because I couldn't understand why someone just couldn't take the baby out of me. Like, why did I have to keep waiting? So I remember going to the emergency room like, oh, just trying to get this baby out. Like, just take it out. Please put me out of my misery. And nobody would take the baby. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is just so cruel. It's so unfair. And how do we do this to people and think it's okay? And the lack of compassion that I saw was ridiculous. And I always think, what if this was your mother? What if this was your wife? What if this was your sister? The narrative would be different. But because it's not, it's not. My partner worked overnight in law enforcement, and he really was doing his best, but I just couldn't receive it. When I was awake from the procedure, he was there and he picked me up, but he had to leave to go to work that night, so I was angry. And I think I let all of my feelings I couldn't identify turn into anger for him. This isn't easy, but I just need to be honest with you, because I know a lot of you may feel angry and you don't understand it. My partner was amazing, but I shut him out. He felt I wasn't thinking about him and I wasn't concerned with his feelings, and that he was hurting and grieving too. And for me, it's like, you have no idea what's happening over here in this body and in this mind. And I literally just shut him out completely. And in that moment, I honestly just lost. I felt like I lost everything. And my whole life changed. I lost my baby. I lost the person of my dreams. I lost the stepchild that I would have had. I lost a lot. And although I didn't necessarily want to share the personal parts of my life, I'm sharing in case it helps you, because honestly, there are so many people that this happens to. They have miscarriages, they experience loss, and they completely end their relationships, end marriages. And it's like, I want to encourage you to just, no one mentioned to me about therapy. No one suggested it. I If I had it, I would have been so much better off, honestly. And I'm gonna do a video on the 6 things that I wish I knew or did, but I would have definitely went. It would have been so helpful to help me understand and to process, because again, I kept it all inside. And I'm sharing this again because I know that I'm not alone. I've spoke to so many people and they all echo their sentiment. They feel like it was them. They feel like it was their fault. They feel like it was because their babies were out of wedlock. They feel like something was wrong with their bodies. A lot of stuff. So we're fast forwarding it a few years, and I have picked up the broken pieces of my life and tried to make the best that I could with what I had, with where I was at and how I was feeling. And so I got married and I had a child, and then I was pregnant again. And that's when it happened the second time. When I went to see my doctor, I think it might have been a Thursday or Friday. So he was concerned that my HTG levels were low, and he was saying that he thinks there may be a problem, that maybe we should look into alternative measures, but that we would hold off and just see until all the rest of the blood work came back. It was just weird, very, it was really just hard to understand, to be honest. I don't feel like he was as thorough with me, and I think he just didn't want to overwhelm or stress me, because I think he knew what was happening and he knew my past, that I already had a loss, and I think he was just trying to maybe be strong for me, if you will. I'm not sure, because I actually had my first son on his birthday, so he's been my OB, all the way. So he obviously had a relationship with me and he knew me. All I knew was I was devastated. I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't understand the danger I was in. But a few nights later, I felt like I was hit with a ton of bricks. I fell to the ground and I literally could not walk. I was in so much pain, and to crawl was the worst pain I have ever felt. And if you don't know, I've had 2 11-pound babies natural, no meds, no anything. This felt like giving birth naturally times 1,000. It was insane. Nothing compared to the pain. And I had a lot of trauma surrounding both births, to be honest, and I think that's why it's so hard for me to deal with miscarriage and why I've experienced so much grief. I remember asking for help up the stairs, and I was dismissed for being extra. So I didn't get the help. And when I finally got up the steps to the bed, I literally passed out from the pain. It was so painful. And I remember the next day when I woke up and came to, I just went immediately to the emergency room. And man, when I got in there, it was a mess. I guess the doctor called my OB, and she was screaming at me and told me ectopic pregnancy is the leading cause of death for women. I was lost. I feel like everybody knew what was going on except for me, because I feel like he did not explain fully to me what was going on. And I felt like to go in there telling her I'm in pain, and then for her to just start screaming at me like, why didn't you come in before, and you almost died, and da 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 da. Well, if I didn't know anything, what a way to put it on me. What a way to tell me. What a way to let me know. So again, I think it goes back to being sensitive to the needs of others. Like I would just said, hey, I'm having an ectopic pregnancy. I'm going to stay home and I'm just not going to care. I mean, I passed out from pain. I had no control over that, but when I did go, I did. So long story short, I just remember just crying right there, just truly crying, like devastated, like, I don't even understand. I don't understand what's going on here. And I remember just praying for God to just send somebody who could be sweet to me. And the nurse came in, and she was my nurse. And she literally, I don't remember her name, but she literally just like put me in her arms and like rocked me. And she explained everything that was going on, everything that was about to go on. She explained everything that I could not comprehend, that I didn't understand, that was kind of hidden from me, if you will. She was able to explain all of it to me, and I was able to understand it all finally, and it all made sense. So I didn't have time to call really anyone. The people I called, they were too busy anyway, and I didn't have a big support system to begin with. So there we go. But we just went right back to surgery, and in that moment I lost my left tube and I lost my baby. So what happened, when I dropped to my knees in the pain, the baby was inside of my tube and the tube bursted, and the doctor thought that that's what it was, or he knew it, that's what it was. But again, I think he just didn't want to tell me because he didn't want me extra worked up and worried. So he just said, you know, he just gave it to me as nice as possible. So they did say that it was a miracle, that I made it, that, you know, I was okay, and that everything turned out right. But again, I experienced so much trauma around both births that it really took a long time to grieve, forgive. There's a lot of trauma there, right? And so I've even saw a grief therapist. Well, let's be honest, I'm seeing a grief therapist because I think so often we're just told, move along, keep going, and we try to avoid, we try not to think about the situation, we try to work ourselves so we don't remember the situations, we just don't take time to deal with what's happening, what happened, what's going on. My baby died. I was in a traumatic experience. I had to carry a deceased baby that I wanted so bad for 7 weeks. It's traumatic. My tube had to be removed. I no longer have a body part. My baby died. I almost died. It's pretty traumatic. So I was upset with my body, upset with myself, upset with the way people mistreated me, they mishandled me, how they weren't there for me. And this has been just a journey of healing. This is my life story of healing from hard things and seeing beautiful again. I used to always say, what is beautiful again? How do you see beautiful? How do you move on from such hurt and such pain, such devastation, such loss, such anguish, you know, when it looked like you were all alone? But it was then that I stopped and I remembered, but I wasn't alone. He was with me. He gave me the strength. He helped me. And I know that all types of people will watch this video. Some now, some months later, maybe years later. And I just want to say, you can't do it alone. It's too heavy. It's too heavy. And I just want to encourage you to give all the hurt, the pain, the grief, to give all the emotions that you can and cannot explain to God. And I know it's hard because it's like, well, if God loved me so much, why would this happen? And if he's here with me, then this and then that. And well, he already knows how I feel. So as I prepared to bring this video to an end, I just really hope that me being raw, open, and vulnerable helps you. I hope you can understand me a little bit better, that you can understand who and what I am and why I'm always encouraging people, why I'm always trying to inspire and motivate people. It's because I have felt the least motivated. I have felt so discouraged, and I had no one to encourage me. I had no one to motivate me, no one to inspire me. And I remember one day God said, what you need others to be for you, that's who you be for others. And I said, what? And he told me to start a YouTube channel. I'm not sharing this video for sympathy or anything like that. I'm not sharing this video for any negative comments, any negative remarks. Please keep that to yourself. I'm a grieving mommy. I don't want that on my page. You know, love, kindness, and grace on my channel is all I accept. But I'm just sharing these things so that you can understand me more, so you can understand my faith more, so you can understand my healing journey more. So when you hear me always talking about healing and forever healing, one is because in a few years I'm going to be a therapist. But healing is something that is really embedded in me, and I think it's because of my experiences that I just want people to be whole, to be healed, to be encouraged, to be inspired, to be motivated. And I'm just hoping that when you turn to my channel, even if you have no one to support you, no one to encourage you, that with each video I make, you feel like I'm saying to you personally, I see you, baby. You got this. You're doing this. You got what it takes. I'm proud of you. You did that. I saw you. I see you. I'm holding space for you. You're doing better than you think. You're doing better than you imagine. You're doing better than you know. You've got what it takes. Come on. You're almost at that finish line, baby. Come on. Let's get it. You've come too far now. You might as well keep going. Let's go. Let's go. Like a personal coach cheering you on. And again, it's not something that I wanted to do, but God laid it on my heart and told me what you needed during those times of loss and hurt and alone and pain. That's what you be for others. And yeah, I was crying during that time, but I was also reading my Bible. I was listening to worship music. I was fasting. I mean, really, I was sinking deep into the word. He was already, but I mean, to another level, he became my everything. So when people comment on my faith, I got it during the storms. I got it in the trenches. I got it in the lowest parts of my life, in the lowest places of my life. But also in the lowest places of my life, he was with me. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video.